Hi friends, as promised, I'm here with my first episode on Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations with PowerApps Connectivity series. Today's agenda would be with the basics, chiefly with connecting finance and operation data sources, imbibing them, embedding them in PowerApps, performing lookups on various controls, and how to make a control be dependent on another control. I would also be showing you how to perform validations in your app and a quick example to perform CRUD operations in the app. So, what are we waiting for? Let me push you straight to the demo. Heading over to make.powerapps.com, you need to select the environment where you are going to do this development. So I am selecting this environment where why I'm choosing this environment first of all. This is because I already have this environment being connected to finance and operations. So this is why I am going to create my apps by selecting this environment. So how can I create an app? So there are various ways to do this. The easiest way nowadays is by using Copilot. I can ask my Copilot to create an app that can collect responses to an email and upload them to SharePoint. So if I say something like this and hit enter, it's going to create necessary tables, necessary connections, and necessary apps that are needed. And finally, it's going to create the app and going to present to you. But our idea is not to go by this way. Instead, I'd like to show you from the scratch how you should do this. So if I go to apps and if I create a new app, start with Copilot, start with data, start with page design. Instead of that, if I simply say I want to create a new app from the blank, so what I'm doing is that I'm clicking on create and I'm clicking on blank app, this one. So this one gives a lot of options. So blank canvas app, blank app based on Dataverse page, Power Pages website. I don't want this. I should go ahead with creating a blank canvas app. This is needed for you because you need to understand how can you leverage blank canvas apps, and once you have understood the architecture behind this, you can go ahead and you don't want to waste your time. You can straight go ahead and do the same, automate the same by uh, instructing the Copilot. So I'm just clicking on create. It's going to take a while and it's going to ask me what is the app that should I name my app with. So I'm giving a name like this is customer creation app, which is and it's asking it's going to be on tablet or on phone. So I'm keeping it as it is and I'm creating it. So it is going to take a while to get things ready, and let's wait. And eventually this prompt will come which is asking me what do you want me to do. Shall I create a form or create a gallery? What do you want me to do? So for now I'm keeping this. This is also needed because I want to make you understand how can you do all these things with your own self without using any kind of automation or any kind of prompts. So what I'm doing is that I'm simply inserting text or label. So all my controls that I want to add here, everything is listed out here on the left hand side of this pane. And here is my tree view. Preview is what? Preview is going to show you all the controls that I have already added in my screen or on my form. And this plus sign is where I can keep on adding my controls. This is the data. This is the data where I will show how you can automatically connect with your Dynamics 365 using these data connectors. And this is my variables where I am keeping all my variables or all my whatever I have defined out here, whatever I have declared here. All these things are going to be listed out here. So for now, let me start by selecting a label. So I am going with the text label like this. Let me give a text label and let me give a name like this. Let me take it to the top and give a name like I'm just giving a name, create customers. So if I say this and let me increase the given first of all, let me give a proper name to it. Let me give name like LB. Like this, I'm giving a name. Okay, and this is the label control name, and this is the text which I would like to show it to the user while he is going to run it. And the font size, let me increase this font size to something around 20 or even more, something to I can keep it as 15. It's going to give me some more vivid look to it. Okay. And so I can also push this up, or I'm just leaving it now as it is, because this is the top of the font. This is the screen actually while we are doing the design. If you see, this is the outlet of the screen. This is where we can inside the screen we are going to design everything what we want to do. So here I am going to add another label out here. So I'm giving the label like this. So inside this label, I'm giving a name like text. I'm changing this to select legal entity. So if I say this, and let me again give a proper name to it, like LBL legal entity. And now I would like to show you a control. What is this control? This control is nothing but a kind of a drop down. So I can select a drop down, or I can select a combo box. So both of them are fine. So for now, I'm selecting a drop down from here. The drop down, I'm giving a name, proper name. I'm giving a proper name to it. So this name, I'm giving it as like this. Let me correct my spelling. Okay, and now, so here, when this is going to be run, when the user is going to run this app, he should be able to select the legal entities that are available here. So to do that, I have to get this pre-populated with the legal entities that are available in finance and operation. How can I do that? The easiest way to do this is to make use of a data connection. So I can create a data add. I can add a data here. So this is where, if I click on add data, it is showing me all the Dataverse tables that are available presently. What I will do is that I will come on search and I select finance and operations. So here, if I select this, it's going to ask me to connect. So, okay, fine. I understand you asking me to connect to finance and operations, but what is the connection stream? What is the connectivity plugin? So here I'm going to select, I'm going to click on connect, and it's going to ask me like any user who is having a premium feature as its license, he or she only would be able to use this connectivity. So I see, got it, and it is asking me few more details. And from here I can select the data entity that I should be needing for my drop down for the company drop down company. So I'm let us search for this legal entity. This is the name as evidently this is the name of the legal entity that I will be needing. So I'm clicking on connect. So it is going to create a new data source out here inside my data panel. And if I come back to my drop down out here, I can add this data source as my data source that is connected to this control. So I'm selecting this legal entity out here. I'm selecting replace columns because these columns are going to be added. I'm going to map the fields from this data source into this control. So my items, it's saying that items should come from my legal entities. What are the fields that I need to add here? So I'm clicking on edit, and I'm selecting from this legal entity ID, which is my text column, obviously text column legal entity ID, and my type is yes, and that's it. So if I am going to select, if I go to save this, and if I go to run this, it's going to show me the lookup as follows. And if I come back to my app and if I click on this and if I drop it down, it should show me the list of all the legal entities that are present in my finance and operations. And with that, let me add more controls to my form. Say for example, I'm going to add text input out here, which is going to let the user give some text customer code to it. Say for example, I'm just renaming the name of the control like txt cust code, and this has already some predefined inputs to it. I'm removing that, and with that let me add more and more controls to it. Say for example, I'm going to add customer groups to it, the group to which this customer should belong. And I can also copy an existing control, so I'm just renaming this to lbl cust group, something like this, and I'm changing the content of this label to select customer group, and I'm also renaming this to drop down customer group. So when I do this, now I need to add one more data source out here. The data source, which is nothing but which is going to bring the available data source for this legal entity. So how can I do that? It's going to be the same drill as I did for legal entity selection. I'm going to add one more data source out here. I'm going to select the group from here. Okay, so the name of the data entity, I have to select it properly, otherwise it's not going to give me correct results. So I'm selecting customer groups and I'm connecting this, so it's going to add another data source out here called the customer groups, just like we have done for legal entities. So like that, we can keep on adding as many as controls we need to our form. So for example, we also can add a customer name along with the customer code. So what I will do is that I'm just going to copy this to guys and I'm going to paste it once again here, and I'm going to shuffle their positions. Say for example, I'm just going to take the top a little bit, and here I'm just again going to change the name to LBL customer name, and I'm giving a value like customer name to it from code. And here I'm also going to change this txt customer name. So, and let me also take this to the bottom and bring this up, so which is going to take me like this. You see, it's very easy. It's just like a normal UI design as you do in most of your applications. So I have now legal entity, customer code, customer name, and customer group. So with that, if I save this and if I run this, so it would show me the legal entities and customer group details on the lookup. So if I come back to my run mode and if I see, like I've selected the legal entity like this, and I can see the customer groups are showing up like this. So this is exactly what is needed, but here is a catch. So say for example, I have selected for USMF. These are the customer groups that are available. But if I select some other legal entity, say for example GLCO, so the legal entities, according to the legal entities, the customer groups should also change on there, because customer group is certainly not a shared data. Basically, it depends on the legal entity that you are selecting. So it's not changing based on the legal entity. This is where you have to do some customization. Let me show you how. For all such cases, I would prefer to use a combo box instead of a drop down. Why? This is because with a combo box you can do a lot of manipulation as compared to a drop down. a combo box can help you do a lot of filtration, as I will show you why I'm saying this. So, what I've done is that I have created a Power Automate to do this interaction, to do this filtration. So this Power Automate is very simple. So I've given it a name like lookup cross company customer groups, like that. I've given a name. So this is located, if you click on these three dots, you'll see that you'll be able to see the Power Automate. You'll be able to choose the Power Automate, and the Power Automate. Let me show you what I've done inside this Power Automate, which is very simple. So this is in the first step, it is receiving a value of the data area ID from the user, and in the next step, basically it is doing is what you can obviously understand. It is getting the value of a bearer token, which is login.microsoftonline.com/the tenant ID/coauth2/token. And in the body, I'm passing on the value of client ID, client secret, then resource values. Resource value is nothing but, as you know, this is the base URL of your finance and operations. So once done, next step is to call the OData entity for cust groups. Here lies the trick. Like, what I'm doing is that I am passing the cust groups OData entity with this parameters, JSON filtration parameters. Let me show you how am I doing this. Like, if I say, if I request the data area with the data area ID value like this, equal to INMF, so it will show me like this. Let me click on this pretty print, and if I change this to something else, to say, for example, I'm changing this to USRT, and let's see what it happens. So it's going to take a while to get it loaded. See, so accordingly it's changing based on that. So what I'm doing is that I'm passing the filter by filtering my JSON response. So this is exactly I'm doing here in my call to the OData entity. So in the next step, what I'm doing is that I'm calling my parse JSON. In my parse JSON, I'm passing on the JSON response, which I just showed you, out here. I'm just copying and pasting this in my response schema, in my generate schema here. Okay, and as you can see, like you see here, I'm selecting the value body, the body from the previous step. I'm just passing this on blindly. I'm not doing any changes. I'm not doing any further expression filtration or anything. I'm just passing it on as is. So and then I'm declaring a cust group array variable, cust groups. So this cust groups, I am basically I'm declaring a for loop for each, and inside this for each, what I'm doing is that I am appending to this cust groups the value of the variables that I am getting here, which are 10, 20, 30, like that. I'm getting the variables of the customer group ID, and I'm assigning it to the different elements of this array. And then finally, in the last step, I'm passing this on the response which I received, and I'm passing this on to my caller PowerApps. So back in my PowerApps, if I show you what is happening now, so in this combo box, if I select my this value as my items, so if I come down to here, I would see like I am calling this built-in function called split. This method, it's doing what? It splits out a response. This variable called response, and it is splitting up on the basis of the comma that it has got out of it. What is this response? Let me show you what is it doing. So in my drop-down legal entity on change, I am calling this Power App Automate. I'm calling this Power Automate flow, and I am just running it by passing on the value of the drop-down legal entity. Okay, and I am declaring a variable called response, and I'm storing the response result of this run of this Power Automate into this variable called response. So you see, this is a very peculiar thing about Power Apps. It's in Power Apps, we don't need to declare a variable, declare the type of the variable like what we do in C# or in X++. We write the value of the variable, but before that we need to tell the compiler like it's an int x equal to 5, or real y equal to 10, like that. But here you don't need to do this. only by saying that response. That I'm just saying that response, I'm just declaring the name of this variable called response, just automatically implied that it's a kind of a string which I am storing. Now, when I am coming back to here in my combo box, I am saying split this response in form of comma. So wherever you are seeing comma, if you see a value like this, like if you see a value like 10, 20, 30, 40, like this whole array, you split it into two halves. On one half, you take the value of the array, and on another half, you take the commas on another side. So this arrays like 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever it is getting, it is assigning into an array variable called values. Automatically it will do that. You don't need to declare the the array variable once again. It's automatically going to do that, and you just assign this value to the display fields, which is nothing but if I come down to here and I select display fields, I'll be able to see the value. So exactly that's what it is doing. It is filling up the array response which you got by splitting the response from the Power Automate. You are splitting it up and saving that value, that array, into this variable called value. That's it. So if you run now, it will show the magic. Like you will be able to see, like if I am selecting anything called INMF. Let me show you like what is happening. You can see the dots coming up like this. Consequently, I can also see the customer groups has changed accordingly. Let me close this form. So apart from that, there are so many other validations that you can do. So this was the first part of the series. I would like to conclude this series for today. In the next session, what we will do is dependent controls. Like you can create controls, one control be dependent on another. So like we showed, like this was a call, like you need to go back and you are posting a value from Power Automate to Dynamics 365. Instead of doing that, you can also do the same thing in client side also as well. So say for example, I have a country and I have the cities and I have the postal addresses. So based on the country, all this postal address and the cities should change. So that's an example I would like to show. How can you do that? And I would also like to show like how can you include validations, like how validations could be performed, various kinds of validations. You can also like to see like how CRUD operations we can do from PowerApps to Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. Lastly, we'll conclude episode 2 with how you can call an AI prompt from Power Automate and why is this at all relevant and essential. We will cover all these topics in the episode 2. Till then, if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Much love, Subhashish. Take care and see you soon.